Thanks so much for joining us. Hi guys, it's Sandra from Inspired Keys. And what I'm doing right now is to quickly set up Cordy on my YouTube live video. Present to everyone. Okay, so now if Inspired Keys Academy members were to click on the link I have on our Facebook group live video, you will be able to see my live keys view. Hello everybody. Those of you who don't know me, I am Sandra from Inspired Keys, and I run the Inspired Keys Academy, which is also the place where you can grow in your worship keys skills really quick. Thank you for your patience. This morning I did run late for about 5 minutes. Setting up took longer than expected, and I was waiting for some help to take over the care of my 14-month-old toddler, who is otherwise extremely cute. And getting very clever with every passing day. So what I'm going to do now is answer people's Inspired Keys Academy members' worship keys questions. And I do this every fortnight, at least I try to do that. And what I have usually do is to answer questions that I receive over the past 2 weeks. What's interesting though is that this time round, being the first half of December, it's interesting that people seem quite busy, and I haven't received a lot of worship keys questions. So I posted an email to the Inspired Keys Academy members, and I asked, hey guys, do you have a worship keys question? If you do, please reply to ask me now. And over the last 10 hours, I received these two questions from these two Inspired Keys Academy members. So that's what I am jumping on to do. So let's jump right in. What I do also want to explain is that Inspired Keys Academy members who are watching us live, wherever you are in this world, which is so cool because God has made it possible for us to kind of come together as long as you are awake and connected to the internet at a certain time together. You can ask me questions in the Facebook Live video chat on the box on the right, and then I will answer your worship keys questions first. But that's for Inspired Keys Academy members only. And for those of you watching on YouTube, if you are interested to check out the Inspired Keys Academy, then be sure to check out inspiredkeys.com/join. And what I'm going to do now is also to just quickly jump on YouTube Live. And I can see that there are a couple of us watching. So thanks so much, guys. Awesome. And I'm just going to type in the Inspired Keys Academy join link. Okay, so that's inspiredkeys.com/join, those of you who are interested. But yes, currently the Cordy app will just show up on my YouTube live screen. So if I play anything, you will be able to see what I play over there. Okay, let's jump into our first question from Anton. Anton says he has been having some huge challenges with his home. And so he wasn't able to pursue learning. And you know what? I totally get it, because that's life. That's why we have the Inspired Keys Academy annual membership, which is for people who are committed to learning over a long period of time, so that if life gets in the way and we get busy, we need to travel and stuff, we can still jump back into the academy when we are ready a couple months or weeks later. So he says he's going for vacation for the next 3 weeks. Woohoo! Lots of people are traveling, so travel safe, guys. Hopefully, would have time to focus on my passion. I'm so glad you are at least asking this question, because it looks like a really good one. My question is, how do I utilize chords besides those from the diatonic scale to embellish a song? When do I use major 6th, the 9th, major 13th, diminished, augmented, and very cool advanced harmonies like this? If I am in the key of C, I know D, E, and A minor, as well as F major, G major, and B diminished. D, E, A. Let me just think about what that means. So you know chord 2 major, I think. 2, 3, 2, 3, and 6 minor, as well as 4, 5, because that's F major, G major, and B diminished, which is great because that's pretty much all of the chords I can think of in the scale of key, the key of C. Of course, I presume you also know chord 1, which is C, because that would be the root tonic chord. But Anton's asking, what other chords can I use and when? I hope you understand my question. Thanks much. Blessings to you and your family, and blessings to you guys as well. I love this question. It's actually really advanced, and I actually haven't sat down to plan what I'm going to say. So let's jump right in. I think basically the main chords, and I'm just going to change this key to C major right now. Yeah, that's right. Now, here's the deal. If you are going to play worship songs, as you can hear from a lot of the contemporary worship songs, they are very tonal. T-O-N-A-L. Tonal just means it's that every song has very safe harmonies and very stable keys. There is a strong sense of a tonal center, which is the sense of the key. So for example, if a song is in C major, it's very obvious it's in C major. Genres of music that are a little bit more like unstable or frequently changing in the keys or the tonalities would be, you know, you could venture into some jazz or blues where at least the dominant key, which is the 5 or the G major in the key of C major, would be passed through. But then classical music, you get the development section, you get, or even jazz music where the key is constantly changing, or even modern music. We're talking Schoenberg and Berg and all these amazing post-war German music. That's where, you know, you get music like, right, that's literally just kind of flunking around, but basically that's from my studies of the 4 major classical period, classical music eras. So when we talk about contemporary music, Anton, a lot of the music is very tonal. We can't really venture away from a lot of these chords, which really are primarily built out of chords 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6. And even B diminished is something that you don't always use. In fact, probably almost never. But as I am talking right now, I can think about, you could use something like a, so in the key of, I'm just going to turn on the pen. So that's a B diminished chord, but I'm going to add a 7 so that at least there's a bit of a D minor flavor inside. So when you have a B diminished, well, yeah, that's right, B minor 7, flat 5, if that's exactly what the software thinks the chord is, but what I'm trying to do is a B diminished 7 chord. Sorry, but that's a B diminished 7, but this is more like a B minor 7, but flat 5 chord. So if it's just that, it's B diminished, okay? So Anton, what I might do is I might use this as like a, yeah. So I might use this as something like a 2-5-1, which is a jazz kind of chord progression, into a chord A minor. So if I were to have to go into an A minor, I could just go into A minor straight, or I could go into a B diminished, E, A. So that sounds a lot jazzier. So let me think of a song that has like maybe an A minor chord, or at least a chord 6 somewhere. Okay, I'm trying to think of all the songs that we are sort of singing recently that you guys will not find too foreign. I guess a chord 6 song would be something like, I'm thinking of something that has very minorish tone. So something like Hosanna. So you know how it starts with, just gonna turn up my chordy. So that was exactly what I was trying to do. Okay, you know how if we were to play Hosanna in the key of A minor or maybe C major, which is a very rare key for Hosanna. From what I know, it's like a G or E minor kind of song. But if it was in the key of C, then you would have an A, and then you have a C major 7, and then you have a D minor 7, and then maybe like a E minor 7. That's what I remember hearing in my head. And then if I want to go back to A minor, I could just do it the usual simple way like that. But if you really want to jazz things up, you can do a 2-5-1, where the 2 and the 5 are defined in the keys of A minor because you are going into A minor. So the 2 of A minor, and then you have a 5, and then okay, so that's kind of advanced stuff, guys. If you are getting a bit lost, I'm not gonna blame you. Do I think it's stylistically appropriate though? Like, do I think it's something we want to hear in a regular rendition of Hosanna? I don't think so. You can try it, but I just find it a little strange. So let me just kind of jam it through. So, Anton, that would be the way you would use like a B minor chord. But otherwise, I'm just going to try and address what other chords you talked about. So Anton was talking about diatonic scale, yep, to embellish a song like major 6th, 9th, major 13th. So major 6th would be like a I actually have a feeling you mean 7th, because 7th is like a whole lot more common. So okay, so now let's talk about like the compound chords, where you have something like a, so that would be a major 9th, because you're adding the 9th note, 9th in relation to C being the 1, and then you have if you find that very strange, you could, I guess, play an F sharp if you sharpen the 11th. So it all gets really confusing and complicated, but it can be harmonically very rich. I might use something like a C major 7, or like, you know, if you're asking about major 7s, it's actually really jazzy sound. So something like that. So maybe I'm just thinking kind of on the fly here. This is my desire to worship you. So I did venture on into some very safe chords towards the latter part of the song, but then at the very start, I was kind of jazzing it up by adding that B. That's the only note that's contributing the jazz factor inside. If I don't, it's just this is my desire, which is the expected chord. It's just a safe C chord. It's just C, E, G inside the chord. Nothing very adventurous harmonically. If I add that B in there, though, it changes the flavor a whole lot to this is my desire. And in this case, this A minor 9. If I dare, I could even add an 11th, I guess. This is my desire. So here's where I have a D minor 9th. I personally think this sounds like a nice chord to flow into. So Anton, basically you have to dare to go into quite a jazzy realm if you're going to use something very harmonically complex and just very compounded, like accumulative in its effects, okay? Diminished chords. The only diminished chords like I really actually use during a worship keys context will be like what I described, which is something like a B, E major, and then an A minor, B diminished. I'm just trying to think like Because diminished chords have a very heart-wrenching and almost angry and frustrating and negative kind of feel, which we don't necessarily want to give during a worship song kind of context, right? So for example, I mean, when I was doing like diminished arpeggios, it would be like something terrible is going to happen. It would be perfect for something like, you know, like something bad, like the sharks coming in Jaws, or it's like I can imagine Chopin etudes, right? It's being built out of. So I would not really use this chord a lot in a worship keys context. I'm just thinking of all the songs that I kind of played recently. No, not really. Yeah, I think the best thing I can think of right now is the 251 thing, which I talked about at the very start. So Anton, that's all I can think of. And then when you talked about augmented chords, so an augmented chord, for those of you who are not so sure, is, you know how like you have a C major, and if you were to augment it a little bit by pulling the G up a half step, that I feel has a very strong jazz flavor as well, particularly American sort of jazz. So something like that. Do I really use augmented chords? I guess, you know what, I have to say I'm back to just having to repeat myself a little bit. Yeah, it's a very jazz thing. So unless you're really trying to make things sound very jazzy, very intentionally jazzy, I have to say don't use a lot of it, but try it. And Anton, if you do find a good place to use it, maybe you discovered something like, hey, you know, I could sneak in a jazz augmented chord or diminished or what do you call that? Compounded 7th, 9th, 11th, 13th chord. Please share it with us. Please send it to me by email or share it on our Facebook group. I would love, love, love to hear it, and we could learn from each other. So Anton, thank you so much for that very, very advanced, incredible question. Appreciate that a lot. We're going to go straight on to the next question, which is from Sharon. Okay, so Sharon says she's confused with the time difference. But yeah, it does get a little crazy because the Australia timing is very far ahead. So I think this is something that I'll have to Google just to know the time difference. So Sharon asks, how do you start using your left hand to accompany playing chords in the right hand? How do you start playing keys? I'd be it good to focus on a song or learn scales? Would it be, I think Sharon means, would it be good to focus on a song or learn scales and arpeggios? Okay, thinking. I think this is something that you kind of need to learn. You do have to at some point jump into the ocean a little bit. It does take a leap and a step of faith because it's a bit scary if you've always been playing separate hands. Online. Start using your left hand to accompany playing chords in the right hand. To accompany playing chords in the right hand. I'm trying to understand Sharon's question because I'm not sure if you mean both your hands playing chords together, or do you mean left hand playing chords and right hand playing melody? Would it be good to focus on a song or learn scales and arpeggios? So I think, Sharon, maybe this is something that we have to kind of just learn all together. Yes, learn your scales and arpeggios and keep that going on until you are very fluent with scales and arpeggios, because it's one of those things that if you have the knowledge, you can throw it out when you are actually playing in church and playing worship songs. But focusing on a song is a great way to actually get started, because otherwise you don't really get a chance to really do anything useful with the skills you have. So now, if you are right before me, I will ask you to clarify your question. Did you mean left hand playing chords while right hand plays the melody, or did you mean both hands are playing the chords at the same time? So because I don't know what you actually mean, what I'm going to do is to demonstrate both. So, okay. Overused song, but definitely very safe. I'm pretty sure everybody in the world probably knows this song by now. Because Sharon didn't give an example of a song, I will have to throw an example, and it would be What a Beautiful Name. Okay, so but Hillsong's What a Beautiful Name. I guess to simplify things, Sharon, I'm gonna put everything in C major because that's the simplest key. You don't have to worry about any black notes too much of the time. So if you are talking about left hand playing chords but right hand playing melody, like everything in life, when you start for the very first time, go very slowly, okay? Because I know it can be very scary. If maybe you've always played like left hand, just chords, maybe something higher, something like that. If you're always like, you know the chord is like that, but then you don't dare to put it together, just keep it really simple, and then you know how to play your right hand. Maybe you know your right hand being go extremely slowly, so try. Okay. Now, if you ever feel like you're ready to move on to the next step, take away the middle note, I think, on the left hand, and just play the 1 and the 5 of all those chords. And then play 4 of it on the steady beats of the song. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And just play in that kind of a very simple but very regular beat kind of comping method, like 1, 2. Something like that, because that's something to just get us started. And then if you were to put hands together to play both chords, then I'm just going to assume that some, like another thing, voice, either human voice or maybe another instrument. More typically it's a human voice because we would like sing to the songs that we play. So if you're just playing pure accompaniment, right hand's not playing melody line, then you could try something like left hand's just playing a single bass note, right hand's playing chords, triads. Okay, so once you can do that, try and rearrange your chord a little bit. So instead of playing where left hand's just in charge of a, and your right hand's just in charge of a, so the total sound is this. I think it would be quite nice is if you can move your top G down to the bottom. So these remain the same, but instead of having a top G, move it down an octave. So I think this is a nicer kind of a voicing. Or you can just move your left. I'm letting my right hand, left hand thumb and pinky do the C and the G. So that's left hand doing, that's right hand doing. So you can even use your left hand thumb to go up and down. Comp through all the chords of what I remember of What a Beautiful Name. So Sharon, I really hope that helped, like just in terms of how you can begin getting both hands together to play the accompaniment. I'm not really sure if I did answer your question, and if I didn't, please reply to let me know so that I can really address it properly. And thank you so much for your question. Now, I do believe I received another question from Right. Okay. Thank you so much, Bo, for reminding me that I might have missed your questions from. Yes, you know what, Bo, you are right. I think I might have missed out your question. So I'm just going to reply her questions right now. Thanks. And so sorry about missing out your question. I'm reading Bo's question, and she says, I would love to hear you play Christ Be All Around Me. Cool, I will gladly do that. So far, I have learned the keyboard parts for the original from looking at sheet music, cool, but would appreciate seeing a meditative intro, parts of the song where I can play with added interest without overplaying, going back into prayer-led closing for the song that would either end the set or lead into another song. There will be an acoustic guitar joining with and one or two other vocalists. Very cool. That is so good. While literally Google searching things like what is a MIDI controller? Why is it being open in this one? That is awesome. Very, very good stuff, Bo. Thank you so much. I am very sorry. I have no idea how I missed that email, but I shall address your question right now on Christ Be All Around Me. In the first place, I have to say I'm not really sure about how that song goes. So I am going to YouTube that song and just to listen to it for a bit. So Christ Be All Around Me. And I do believe it's the Leland one. I hope I am right. Sorry if I got
as I rise, strength of God, go before, lift me up as I wait, eyes of God, look upon, be my sign, yeah. As I wait, heart of God, satisfied and sustained. As I hear voice of God, lead me on, be my guide, be my guide, above and below me, before and behind me, in every eye that sees me, Christ be all around me, above and below me, before and behind me, in every eye that sees me, Christ be all around me, yeah. Whoa, Christ be all around me, yeah. As I go and guide by the fence by my side, as I rest, breath of God fall upon, bring me peace, bring me peace, above and below me, before and behind me, in every eye that sees me, Christ be all around me, above and below me, before and behind me, in every eye that sees me, Christ be all around me, Christ be all around me, Christ be all around me. blood was shed for every moment, every moment. Your life, your death, your blood was shed for every moment, every moment. Your life, your death, your blood was shed for every moment, every moment. Your life, your death, your blood was shed for every moment, every moment. Your life, your
Okay, thank you so much, guys, for waiting as I just kind of let up the song right now. Bo, because I'm kind of new to this song, I'm going to have to listen to it again to come up with something that's like a meditative intro, okay? Just let me listen to it again.
As I rise, strength of God, go before, lift me up.
Okay, so from what I'm hearing, it's in the key of, so it's D major. I'm going to change that to D on the chordia. And what I'm hearing is, something like that. Okay, so if it's meditative, then I'm going to assume that you might want to play a little bit slower. And then also, if you can, just bring up the pad sound. So there's an add two. If you take away that E, it's going to just be an ordinary D over F sharp. But when you add the 2 inside, which is the E note, I think it instantly adds a lot of flavor to the song. That's very nice. So I'm just going to play around with these kind of chords. What I want you to pay attention to is the fact that I am holding on with my pinky on the high A. When I decide that, okay, I want that high A to sound, it is sounding for an entire progression. It's not sounding for just 1 or 2 chords whenever I go into that chord, but it is up there the whole time. I think that stable high note makes a lot of difference to just the stability of the atmosphere. It doesn't change around so much. It's not so shifty, and it just sounds a whole lot better. So bad example. See how my top note changes around up and down. It's really messy and uncoordinated, but let's try it again. Same 4 chords, but I'm going to pop that A on top. Just popping my pinky on the whole time. It's still holding onto that A. Yep, so the that's how I'm gonna shape like those chords, which I would probably do as a meditative intro. I hope those chords give you some ideas on how you could shape your chords. The voicing is really important. I would play it a whole lot slower if you feel that it sees fit, because I suppose people will be praying and taking their time. So if you're playing too quickly, you might give a sense of rush, which is not what you want. So try to sense the moment, and if you feel that, oh, I think you need to slow down, then slow down. So that is how I'll do the meditative intro. I really hope that answers your question. And then parts of the song where I can play with added interest without overplaying. Okay, cool. This is something that I might do when I feel that the music is building up. So maybe not at the first verse or the first chorus, which usually is kept quite small. But when I go into something like maybe, I don't know if there's a pre-chorus. Sorry, I am so new to the song. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just jump around some sections of the song, learn it as fast as I can, and then suggest some places that you can add some keyboard interest, maybe invent some riffs or something, right? So let's go.
As I wait, as I hear voice of God, lead me on, you're my Christ be all around every eye that sees me. Christ be all around me, above and below me, before and behind me, in every eye that sees me. Christ be all around me, yeah. Christ be all around me, yeah.
Okay, you know that little bit which I suppose is called a post-chorus? Because it's sort of happening at the end of the chorus. I don't know about the names of the sections, but from my experience, I think that would be an appropriate name that I'm going to give it. Interesting, because the chorus is kind of still because it's the first time, but then the post-chorus kind of got strong, right? Before they stopped it a little bit for, I don't know for how long an interlude is, before they go into verse 2. So what's interesting is if I were you, and there's an acoustic guitarist, as you mentioned, we would all have to punch on those chords, because as you can hear from Leland's recording, it's bum, dum, 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 dum. It's actually pretty strong. So what I will do is to keep that strength there. Tracy's here, and Fernando, hello guys. Sorry, I only got to say hi now, but great having you guys join us. Please pop your worship keys question inside. I am halfway through answering Bo's question on Leland's Christ be all around me. That's right. What I'll do is I will play something like, let's turn on the accordion. So, okay, so now that's how I will play that section, in a very simple way where it's strong, 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 strong. You really have to capture that moment like this. If you don't, there's not going to be enough contrast from the quieter section before. So having that strong, 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 strong is going to be something a little bit fresh for the ears, because the song hasn't gotten to that kind of a little mini climax yet. However, I might do something like this the second time you hear this post-chorus. The first time is keep it strong but simple like that. The second time I might do something like, so why am I doing so much? Firstly, from the information you tell me, you've got keyboard and guitar. I don't think the guitar, acoustic guitar, is going to be able to do anything along the lines of, typically this kind of a melodic riff that you play on the high register, the competitor is very likely the electric guitarist. So if you have an electric guitarist, go talk to the guy or the girl and ask, are you doing anything like that? Or maybe just listen. Like if that person's doing it, then don't play anything competing in the same register. But if it's just the two of you, like just keyboardist and acoustic, why not? Go for it. It will add like a freshness with that high register, but more importantly, to match the strength of the moment, you have a lot of energy going. That's really, really high energy at that moment. So that's really good. I would like to do that at least. What else? Let's find some other sections of the song.
There's a goal and a guide, my defense by my side.
Okay, so this is the verse 2, right? So there is, I don't think, a ton of difference between verse 1 and verse 2 accompaniment from the recording, but what I might do is change my chord shapes a little bit more. So currently I'm thinking what Leland's keyboard is still doing is I might actually shift it up a little bit higher, so I have my A on the top line at this point, so like that. Something like that. I just feel like I build up the song a little more.
As I rest, let the sky fall apart, bring me peace.
I'm not sure if you noticed, but and I don't know if you're already doing it, but to create contrast, there was a da 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 da. Da, 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 right? So if you are not already doing it, that's great because you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Leland's team has spent significant time thinking about the arrangements of the song, so you could just copy the 3, 2, the key of D major, that would be F sharp D, no, F sharp E. So try it. I hear an octave part, so that would be quite appropriate. But what I might do is to do more, because I currently only hear 2 of it in the recording. You can do 4 of it. Da 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 da. Or maybe even do this at the first time you have the verse 2, because this is only happening in the second time of the recording. So you might even just want to make it even heavier from the start. But I think the way the recording did it makes sense, because then there is contrast between the 2 verses that you hear within verse 2, if you can know what I mean, because they don't just do the verse once, they do the verse twice, but all of that's defined as verse 2. So then there is contrast between the 2, there is a steady build up. So I thought that's pretty cool. So go ahead and copy that by all means.
Bring me peace above and below me, before and behind me, in every eye that sees me, Christ be all around me.
So from this section, which is chorus 2, I feel it's a lot of just calm, 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 calm. I wouldn't want to do anything too floral or decorative at this point.
And below me, before and behind.
Well, and if no one else is doing the da 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 riff, you gotta do it, because this is the kind of thing that makes people connect with the song. People might be looking forward to singing whoa. So if you're not doing it, you can do. Something like that. So just emphasize that whoa riff, okay?
Your life, your death, your blood was shed for every moment.
So this is a very precious drop in the song, which I think it's important for us to not do too much. Nothing special there besides just comping those chords in a very light manner.
Every more. Your life, your death, your blood was shed for every.
Okay, so for a moment like this, which is where you can feel that the bass and the drum, the kick drum, they're all kind of building, pushing to build the momentum. So the dynamics is kind of lifting at this moment. I quite like doing something like, so I'm not sure how appropriate that's going to sound with just an acoustic guitar. I'm trying to imagine things. I think it might not go too bad, really. So now it might sound very strange if I would just do that, but if I were to rewind and play it together with the recording, you could then hear the totality of the way it sounds.
Your life, your death, was shed for every moment, every moment. Your death, your blood was shed for
And of course, I would practice if to see how long that little extension at the end was, because we're like, oh, when is he going back into chorus again? But that's something that I like to do. And it's, if you noticed, I completely let go of the chords because acoustic will be taking care of that. So then I could free up both hands to do the octave. But of course, if you have something cool like Main Stage Worship Essentials or Sunday Keys, there is always an octave function. Just click that, and then you have one finger just playing one layer of notes, but it comes out as an octave sound. So that's another great way, cheat way, but why not utilize technology to create the octave effect? So yeah, that's the kind of thing that I will do. Bo, I really, really hope that you found this useful, and thank you so much for your question. Just gonna check in on, cool. So we've got Tracy, Fernando, Mark, who has joined us, is joining us. I'm not sure why I'm being shown that there is just one live viewer at the moment, but that's the beauty of tech. If you can't join us for the whole thing, you're very welcome to jump in and watch the replay. But Mark just said thank you from and hi from Jupiter, Florida. Woohoo! It's awesome having a lot of people watching us from all over the world. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. I do believe that is all the questions I have this morning. So that's it, guys. I don't really have, oh, wait. Going back into a prayer-led closing for the song that would either end the set or lead into another song. Okay, I'm trying to see what Bo means at the end here. Going back into a prayer-led closing for the song that would either end the set or lead into another song. There would be an acoustic guitar joining. Okay, so you know what I'll do is how I will end the song, Bo. This is back to Leland. I feel like, depending on where you guys end the song, it feels like it should end with the da 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 da, which is the bridge. Yeah, it feels like it should end with the bridge chords. Let me just fast forward this.
Christ be all around me. Christ be all around me.
Okay, so Bo, if I don't misunderstand your question, going back into a prayer-led closing for the song that would either end the set or lead into another song. Okay, so this is what I think you mean, how we're going to finish the song, right? So if you're going to end with that kind of energy in the post-chorus riff, oh, presence all around me. And if you're going to end with a ta ta ka tum, shh, that kind of crash, right? Then go ahead and like roll the cross be all around me. Okay, you can go ahead and do all that on chord 4. I think it sounds great on the G chord, but I don't like to just instantly drop the energy too much because I think the contrast might be a bit too great. So, you know, like Christ be all around me. And then if you drop too much, I think that it's a little bit too much. What I like to do is when we end on a really high, and assuming this is song 4 or 3, which is the end of the whole set, and the announcer or the person comes up to pray, I like to keep the energy up a little bit before dropping so low. So assuming, let's go from the really high ending of Christ be all around me. So that's what I'll do. I will use my right hand to harmonize the da-da-da-da riff because that's the song that's still playing in people's heads. So you want to go ahead and re-emphasize that. But of course, you don't want to steal the attention from the speaker. But the speaker is probably saying something a little bit more high-pitched and quite like charged at the moment, unless speaker, okay, always match the speaker, okay? So your job as the keyboardist playing with the person coming up to give announcements or pray, it's probably someone who's going to go like, amen, shall we just sing that again? You know, then you just got to match that energy if it's really high energy. If it's the person coming up and goes, thank you so much, oh Lord God, that we are so blessed that you are all around us. And if that person says it like that, you gotta kind of match the tone of voice and tone it down a little bit and just maybe hold chords, just still chords. But I would always recommend holding on to just repeating those 4 chords that we just ended with. If you think it's appropriate, but that sort of always worked for most of our sets anyway. But yeah, I would definitely advise you to watch and listen carefully to the speaker so you know how to match that energy, okay? That's something we had to learn as well. We've had feedback whenever the band plays like post-worship set music when it's just instrumental. Maybe we get feedback like, guys, you were so loud and you were just not really matching with the more solemn energy, kind of mood from the speaker. Or maybe once it was, hey guys, you need to go louder, you went down too soon, and it just wasn't, the effect wasn't achieved when the speaker tried to get everyone to still stand and sing and raise their hands, and we were like, whoops. So yeah, that's just speaking from experience here. Just watch and listen very, very sensitively to the energy and match that person. So this is not just for you, it's for all of the musicians in the band, which means includes the acoustic and drummer and everybody involved if you have them. Cool. I really, really hope I really answered your questions now. Let me just have a great, clear look. Now, you did say, I would love to hear you play Christ Be All Around Me. Oh dear, did you want me to play the whole song? So far, I have learned the keyboard parts from the original. From looking at sheet music, would appreciate seeing. Because you did also say, how about that song and Beautiful Name? Okay, you know what? What a Beautiful Name is something I have done, I think, several times. So I'm going to link that video to you by replying you with the link. So really, really hope that that sort of answers your question. Yes, fantastic, cool. We've got some questions from Mark. Hello, awesome. Very happy that there are questions coming in. Mark says, you are awesome. You are awesome too. Thank you so much. Keep up the good work. Mark says, can you give me your opinion of essentials versus Sunday keys, the pluses and strengths of each? Oh gosh, this is amazing. Both of them are great. I kind of feel like I need a piece of paper to write this down, because if not, I'm just going to babble in a very disorganized fashion. And really, what David has created and what Abel has created, both of these are very, very good, convenient templates, because all the sounds are readily suitable for worship, okay? So in the first place, guys, if you're watching this and you have not checked out these sounds, these templates for worship, you gotta, because that's very, very well used money. Okay, this is from my experience. So the pros and cons, really, these are, a lot of it's very subjective. It's my personal preference. I like this sound, I don't like that sound, you know, that kind of thing. So don't limit what, don't just take what I say like as biblical truth, because it's just my opinion. Okay, so let's just think about straight up the pros of Sunday keys is that you get to layer different sounds and add them into one template altogether, one concert. So it becomes very highly customized in that sense. You can really layer together your favorite piano sound, favorite pad sound, favorite synth sound, which makes it very highly customizable. I also like the variety of sounds that you get in Sunday keys, because you do get like these cool bell sounds. You get organ sounds, which you also get in Worship Essentials, but my impression is I think there's a few more variety. What I personally really like is the ambient guitar, because a lot of times I have confused the sound people going, how come I don't hear the keys when I'm doing the levels? And I'm like, guys, I'm playing electric, and then everyone just stares at me with the what look. But I love it. I love how the ambient guitar gives a fresh, a really special way to just decorate the harmonies and the color for the moment. So that's just a personal opinion again. Okay, so what else? I find Sunday keys a little bit like a little bit higher risk, because I don't know about like whether it's the files being very big or something, but whenever I sometimes like save things, sometimes I feel like it takes a while to open up the file or something. It could be my computer's fault, okay? So once again, this is just my experience. Sometimes I feel like things are a little bit easier to save or to utilize or to just navigate around in Worship Essentials a little bit better. So that is the reason why I do tend to just go straight into Worship Essentials first up, but I will go into Sunday keys when I want the special sounds. Let's go into Worship Essentials. Both of them are very powerful because they currently have, the latest versions have drone sounds. So that means if you don't have a second keyboardist and you want someone to play the drone, like just to hold the 1 and a 5 for you, the everlasting 1 and 5 guys, you can just click at the click of a drum pad. You could activate that drone sound, so that's really cool. But for Worship Essentials, I like how it is stable. It so far has been pretty good. Actually, there are times when it wasn't really stable. So sometimes I've saved it. And then I feel like sometimes when I open up my laptop and open up the concert in church, the sound sounds a little bit different. Then I'll be like, why? And I don't know, because I don't know all the tech stuff that goes on deep within all the channel strips and stuff. So I don't really want to touch anything there. So then I end up having to like restart and open it. And sometimes it's like, no, this sounds very different from what I was listening to at home. I'm not sure if it's the dynamics of the church or something has gone wrong with the file, with the patch. So then I end up having to just like create another one on the fly, just like copy and paste. So that might be just my experience again, guys. Yeah, if anything, I feel that Worship Essentials is just lacking in the variety of sounds. Sometimes I wish for more kinds of organ, but there's, if I'm not wrong, really 2 kinds of organ sounds in there. So it's just not really the best in terms of choosing variety of organs or bells. Sometimes I want a high bell sound, something that's very Christmassy, or maybe just very piercing through the atmosphere, I sometimes have to make do by using octave pianos, sometimes octave electric pianos that create a more by ding kind of sound, which is what I want. So if anything, Worship Essentials just black sound. So Mark, I hope you found this somewhat insightful. The pluses and strengths, yes. So Mark says, right on, I completely agree. Sunday Keys is amazing, and layering, great variety as well. The Christmas package is great. I haven't even checked it out, probably should, but I've just kind of served last weekend, so I should have really checked it out before I saw this. Please comment further on Essentials Plus. PS never had issues with SK on the computer. Cool, that's awesome. I'm so glad it didn't. Maybe I should just try it a lot more, because I confess I haven't used it as much as I use Worship Essentials. What are your best patches on Essentials? The ones that I always use, if it's like a very straightforward pad and piano thing, Mark, I just end up using the first one, because I think it gets the job done. If I ever get tired of the sound, which is quite often, cool, you're very welcome. But if I ever get tired of the sound, I might vary the compressor so it sounds a lot less piercing. I might layer piano and EP, so it has a very special kind of double piano sound. That was what I was using. It was the first 3 patches were up, piano, EP, and pad. That was what I used for company announcements and communion. I didn't think it sounded very strange. If anything, it created some kind of variety to just piano and pad, because it can be very boring. And I like, if you ever use a lot of dancey stuff, then there is a synths, I think, like a piano and synths patch. That one's really powerful. Lots of dancey, techno-y, young and free, perfect kind of sound, Planet Shaker kind of sounds. And then if you, I really find the cathedral organ sound very ethereal. I love it. Sometimes the only problem is I want like another kind of organ. I don't get it, and I only have that cathedral one. The other one is in classic layers, I think, and that one's kind of just like, it wasn't really the sound I was looking for. So yeah, that's just my opinion. But otherwise, cathedral organ, amazing, perfect for just adding volume to those choruses and bridges that are very high, but creating a sense of like ethereal and mystery and fantasy and just being a bit mystical. So that's just something I feel about that song, that particular sound, the patch. What else? I know Pancake and Pie used to be really powerful. Pancake and Pie is great, I feel, when you push the mod wheel up. My problem with pushing the mod wheel up, though, is that it also pushes the volume up, which also makes the sound guy go, whoa, the keyboard's way too loud now. Then the sound guy is going to lower the piano layer volume, which then becomes a problem when we get softer, because then we get too soft. And then they have to bump us up again. So that's my issue with rolling the mod wheel. But otherwise, I feel that the mod wheel thing is really, it's really good, but I'm just going to watch the volumes a little bit. Can you email me your best patches on Essentials? Thank you, Sandra. Now, I can't, because that's something you have to purchase, but it sounds to me like you already have those, the Worship Essentials package. So go check it out. There is a discount that you can use if you don't know already. And since we're at this conversation, I'm just going to copy and paste the information. For those of you who are wanting to check out Worship Essentials or Sunday Keys, guys, let me just find it. Yep. Okay, gonna go ahead and copy and paste this information. Hey, Candy, great having you. Woohoo. And what else do we have here? Yeah, so gonna go ahead, going on to the YouTube live link and copy and pasting. copy and pasting all the discount code information for any of you who are interested in using these affiliate links that will help you save some money as well. Worship Essentials and Sunday Keys information. So I really hope that helps. Awesome questions there. Candy, I'm so glad you can join us. Pop your question in here if you have any. Mark, thanks for your questions about worship keys versus Sunday keys versus worship essentials. These words just get really intertwined in my mouth. So really thankful for all of you who joined us, even if you couldn't join us for the whole time. Mark, Tracy, Fernando, thank you so much for joining. Candy says, hi, hello. If you have a question, please pop it in, because otherwise I might have to just say bye for now because we don't have any other questions. And those of you who are watching us on YouTube Live, I just wanted to say Inspired Keys Academy is a way for everybody to learn worship keys on your own and its own time, own target as well. All the course videos on how to use chord voicings, how to get started on main stage, what are the kind of chord shapes you should use in order to sound more worshipy instead of more classical, like you don't want to sound like Mozart and Beethoven. You want to sound like contemporary classical, contemporary worship music. So that's all. Courses are in there. Now the best part is that I will also be answering your questions through these live worship keys Q&As twice a month. There's only going to be one in January because I will be traveling, and when I am away from home, I don't have my equipment, so I can't connect and play you stuff that you can record and I can record and see on. You can see on the screen and stuff, but. There will be one in January and one more coming up later this month in December. I look forward to your next video. Cool. Thank you so much, Mark. Videos come out on Fridays. So, sorry, Friday, Australia anyway. So I'm not sure if that is some other day in another country. But yeah, I am very happy to be able to come here and answer your awesome questions. I'm very appreciative of all who took time to join us today, whether it is on Facebook Live as Inspired Keys Academy members or on YouTube Live. And those of you who are not yet in the Academy, go check it out. inspiredkeys.com/join is the place where you can find out more. Thank you guys. God bless. And looking forward to answering more questions next time. See you next time in the next live Q&A and in the next video coming out on Friday. See ya. Bye.